What if I told you that betrayal doesn't just break trust, but it rewires your brain? And that healing isn't just about moving on, but it's about rebuilding yourself from the inside out. If you feel like trust is something that you're never going to get back, then this episode is for you. Betrayal changes us. It shakes the foundation of who you are and how you see the world. But what if I told you that there is a roadmap to healing? It's not just a way to survive betrayal, but it's a way to come out the other end stronger and more in control of your life than you've ever felt like you've had. Today, we're going to jump into the 5 stages of healing from betrayal, what they are, how to navigate them, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your power in the process. This is not just about trust. This is about transformation. Let's get into it. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Wellness from Scratch. I'm your host, Marissa Jackson, and I'm so happy you're here with me today. If you're new here, hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue making amazing content like this where we talk about well-being. Betrayal hits differently. It's not just about what someone did, it's about what that has done to you. It shakes up your entire reality and leaves you questioning everything that you thought was true. And the worst part of all is that it makes you doubt yourself. If you feel like you've ever been blindsided by someone you trusted, whether it's a friend, a partner, a family member, or even a workplace betrayal, you know what I'm talking about. The pain is sharp, deep, and incredibly personal. But before we can heal, we have to fully recognize the impact that it has on us. That means emotionally, mentally, and even physically. The first reaction we all have after betrayal, well, that's total shock and utter disbelief. How could someone do this to us? Because let's be real, most of the time, betrayal does not come from strangers. It's the people that are closest to us, the ones that we let in, the ones we never expect to hurt us. And that's why when it happens, our minds almost refuse to accept it. You might find yourself replaying moments over and over again in your head, searching for something you might have missed, some kind of mistake, misunderstanding, anything that could be explaining how this could be happening. You might ask yourself, how have I missed these signs? Was I naive? Is this really happening? Or am I just overreacting? Your brain is literally struggling to process the reality in front of you because it contradicts what you believe to be true about that person. This is called cognitive dissonance. This is what happens when what we know and what we believe aren't aligning. It can leave us feeling stuck, like we're frozen in a nightmare that we can't wake up from. And in that moment, it's not just the betrayal that hurts. It's the loss of certainty, the loss of stability. The world doesn't feel safe anymore. Because if this person can do this, what else were we wrong about in the world? After the initial shock fades, the emotions start to flood in, and betrayal carries a heavy emotional load. It's like grief with an extra layer of pain because it was someone's choice to hurt you. There's the obvious pain, deep sadness, heartbreak, and maybe even anger that you're surprised about. Then there is the confusion. One moment you're angry and ready to cut them out of your life completely, and then the next moment all you can think about is the good times that you spent together, wondering if it is all a mistake. And if betrayal came from someone who meant the world to you, whether that was a partner, a best friend, or a family member, the pain can feel almost physical, like a knot in your chest that you can't get rid of. Betrayal makes you question yourself too. You start to wonder if you were the problem, if you were too trusting and too blind. But I've got to tell you something. That self-blame is the most damaging part about betrayal. And that's because it keeps us stuck in the pain instead of being able to move forward towards healing. Maybe you tell yourself, if I would have just paid more attention, I could have prevented this. Or maybe I wasn't good enough and that's why they did this. You might even try to tell yourself that you should have known better. Betrayal says more about the person who did it than it does about you. Their actions were a reflection of them, not you. And if you take anything away from this episode, I need it to be that. One of the worst parts about betrayal is the way it leaves you feeling completely exposed. Like the walls you have built to keep yourself safe have been torn down. In the matter of an instant, you start to question who you can trust, and if you can trust anyone at all. You feel emotionally raw, like a wound that keeps getting poked every single time you think about it. Even in your day-to-day life, you might start noticing yourself withdrawing from the people around you. You might start feeling uneasy and second-guessing interactions that used to feel normal. This is because betrayal ruins more than just your trust. It rips apart your sense of security in the world. When someone you trusted violates that trust, your brain goes into full defense mode, trying to protect yourself from being hurt again. You might feel hyper aware of other people's actions, overanalyzing every little thing they do. You might struggle to let new people in, fearing that if you do, you're just going to get hurt all over again. And on the flip side, you might try to even hold on to that person even tighter than before, because the idea of losing them feels scarier than what they did. And this is where some people get stuck. They get caught between wanting to protect themselves from the pain and wanting to hold on to what once felt safe. But the thing is, that sense of safety, it was broken the second they chose to betray you and your trust. And trying to put things back the way they were is like trying to unspill water. It just won't happen. At least not on this plane of existence. So if you're in this stage right now, feeling the weight of betrayal, the confusion, the sadness, the loss, I want you to know that you're not crazy for feeling this way, and you're not weak for struggling to process this either. You are not alone. The pain of betrayal is real and valid, and it will take time to heal. But here is the good news. Healing is possible. And the first step to that is understanding exactly what you're feeling, why it's happening, and to give yourself some grace in order to process it. All right, let's get into how to start moving forward and how we can begin the process of healing in a way that actually works. If betrayal is the earthquake, then anger is the aftershock. It shakes you, it consumes you, and after a while, it can feel uncontrollable. If you've ever thought something like, I cannot believe they have done this to me, you're not alone. Anger is a natural response to betrayal, but what we do with it really matters, because when you suppress it, it's like shaking a can of soda and hoping it won't explode. And letting it take over can leave you stuck in a cycle of pain. So let's talk about how we can process our anger in a way that keeps us moving forward. At first, you'll experience shock, and then the anger comes in like a tidal wave, because you're not just angry at the person that hurt you, you're angry at the situation, at yourself, and at the universe for allowing this to happen. And that's the thing about anger. It's not just about the betrayal. It's about the feeling of complete powerlessness that comes along with it. The loss of control, the realization that someone else's choice caused you pain, and that there's nothing you can do about it to undo that fact. Anger is often tied to hurt, which is deeper than the betrayal and the anger. It can also tie in senses of self-betrayal. You might think to yourself, how could I let something like this happen? How did I not see it before? But the dangerous part about that is when you let the anger take control for too long. If you let that happen, it will drive you straight into a wall. So how do you allow yourself to feel it without letting it destroy you? First thing is first, anger is not a bad emotion. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's a signal. It's telling you that something isn't right, that a boundary has been crossed, trust has been broken, and ignoring that feeling is like ignoring a fire alarm that is going off and just hoping that the fire goes away on its own. So instead of suppressing your anger, here are a few ways you can acknowledge your anger in a way that heals and helps you. Name it to tame it. Instead of just saying, I'm really pissed off, name it specifically. Say, I'm angry because you lied to me. When you name your anger, you take control instead of letting it control you. Write it out. Grab a notebook, open your notes app, do whatever you have to do to get it out. and no holding back. Write a letter to the person that hurt you and do not send it. Remember, this is not for them, it's for you. You could even symbolically let it go by lighting it on fire, because sometimes getting it out of your head and onto paper is all you need to start making sense of the situation. Move your body to move the anger out of you. Anger lives within the body, and if you don't release it, it manifests in a way that you didn't even know existed, like tension in your body, headaches, or even just random bursts of frustration to people who didn't deserve it. So move. Punch a pillow, go for a run, do whatever you have to do to get that energy outside of you. Your body is carrying this anger and you need to release it. Speak out, but choose your audience wisely. Sometimes we just need to vent and to talk to someone who we know isn't going to judge us. But remember to be careful, because sometimes venting to the wrong person can lead to them adding fuel to the fire instead of helping the situation. Find someone who will sit there, listen, validate your experience, and remind you of your worth. And if no one feels safe, then talk to yourself. I know it sounds crazy, but take a drive and just say everything out loud like you're having a conversation. Just get it out. If you have an animal, talk to your dog. Just don't hold it in. It is literally the worst thing you can do. And you'd be surprised how much clarity you can gain just from hearing your own words out loud. Channel into something that helps you grow. Anger is energy. It can be powerful. So instead of letting that anger burn you, let it fuel something and become beautiful. So instead of letting it burn you, use it as fuel for something positive. Maybe it's throwing yourself into a creative project. Maybe it's working out harder than ever. Maybe it's using that fire to finally make the change you've been wanting to make for a long time. Anger can destroy you, or it can build you up. You make the choice. You could be thinking right now while you're watching this, what if I don't want to experience the anger? What if I just want to bury it and move on and not think about this anymore? Let me tell you right now why that's not going to work. Unprocessed anger does not go away. It festers. It turns into bitterness, resentment, and trust issues that show up in all types of ways throughout your life. It makes you lash out at people that didn't hurt you, and I get it. After you've been betrayed, the feeling of trusting another person feels absolutely unbearable. I've been there. The anger feels safer, but staying stuck in that is only going to give more power to the person that hurt you, and they do not deserve that power. So let yourself feel that anger. Let yourself process it, but do not let it define you. Do not let anger be the thing that stops you from moving forward. So what happens after we feel the anger? The next stage in the process would be the bargaining stage. After the anger starts to settle, you start to feel a shift. You don't necessarily feel better, but now, instead of being mad, you're just searching for answers. You often find yourself replaying betrayal over and over again in your head, analyzing every word, every action, and anything that could have led up to it. You might ask yourself questions like, why did they do this? Was it my fault? And this part of the process is called the bargaining stage. It's one of the hardest parts of the process to navigate because it leaves you tethered to the past, searching for logic that might not have even existed. Betrayal leaves a mess in its wake. And as humans, we have this deep, innate need to make sense of things. When something hurts us, we don't want to accept it. We want to understand it. I feel personally called out by my own script. Because that's me. I am a why did this happen kind of person. We want to know why, because if we can understand, because we think that if we can understand, then we won't be as hurt. We think that if we'll get the right answers, we can just finally move on and be able to let go. But the truth is, sometimes the answers don't even exist. Or worse, the answer is not satisfying. And that is another place where you can get stuck in circles of thought. wanting an explanation that might never come. If you've ever found yourself sitting there imagining the conversation and what you would say to that person if you just got one last chance to talk to them, you are in this phase of the process. Maybe you've even drafted messages, rewritten them, deleted them, and then rewritten them again. Maybe you've stalked their social media pages looking for any sort of clue that you could find. If you could just find that one detail, it would all make sense, right? The truth of the reality is that's probably not the case. And even if you did find that one thing, it wouldn't make what they did any less painful. We think that if we can just find the answers, we'll finally be able to have the closure we need. But here's the thing about closure. A lot of people think that closure is something we need from the person that hurt us, when in fact, closure is something that we give ourselves. We tell ourselves, if I could just talk to them one last time, I would get everything I needed and then I could move on. But 99% of the time, that conversation does not go the way we want it to. I can also identify with that. Yeah, maybe they won't take accountability. Maybe they gaslight you and try to act like you're the one overreacting or that you're the problem. Maybe they give you half-assed apologies, but it doesn't bring you the relief you thought it would. And even in some cases, they might even refuse to acknowledge the pain they caused at all. And then suddenly you realize closure does not come from them. It comes from you when you decide that you're done seeking validation from someone that hurt you. So how do you let go of the need for answers? How do you accept what happened when it feels unfair, unresolved, and unfinished? The first step is accepting that you might never get the apology that you really deserve. And I know that that can be hard to hear. I personally have had to accept that with a few people in my life, and it's okay. That isn't my burden to carry. This is the hardest truth to swallow, but it is also the most freeing. Sometimes there is no satisfying answer. Sometimes people betray us, not because we're not enough, but it's because they were never capable of being the person you wanted them to be. Understanding this doesn't take the pain away overnight, but it can start to shift your focus over time. It can shift your focus from, how did this happen to me, to how can I move forward from this? The need for answers starts to fade away when you realize the question is not why did this happen? It's what do I do with this now? You have to create your own closure. You have to do whatever is necessary in order to let yourself move on. You have to get those feelings out. Every moment you spend trying to understand them is a moment you're taking away from your own healing. Stop asking yourself why they did it to you and ask yourself, how can you heal from it? Ask yourself, what do I need to do to heal from this? Focus on rebuilding your sense of self. Start doing things that bring you peace, joy, and clarity. And please remind yourself that their actions do not define your worth. The hardest part of betrayal is the unfairness of it all. It feels like they got away with something while you're picking up the pieces. But waiting for karma, waiting for them to realize what they've lost, or waiting for an apology is just going to keep you in a place with no power. Letting go does not mean that what they did was okay. It means that you are choosing yourself over their actions. If you are stuck in this stage right now, I want you to ask yourself, do I want to spend my life's energy trying to figure out and understand someone else's choices, or do I want to spend it healing and moving forward? Because the truth is, the more time you spend searching for closure from other people, the longer you delay your own peace and getting to the other side of this. After the anger fades, after the bargaining and endless questioning, there is a quiet that follows, but not the peaceful kind. It's heavy and suffocating, and oftentimes can be filled with an overwhelming sadness. This is the depression stage of the healing process, and it can be one of the toughest to get through, because while anger feels powerful and bargaining gives you a sense of control, depression It can make you feel like you're drowning in the weight of everything that you've lost. This is the stage where you come face to face with the reality of your betrayal. It's where you stop fighting for answers and stop holding on to the what ifs. Instead, you start to truly feel the grief of what's broken. And while this is painful, it is also necessary to the process, because this is where healing truly begins. Betrayal isn't just about broken trust, it's about loss. And like any loss, you have to grieve. You're not just mourning the person who betrayed you, you're mourning the version of them that you thought was real. You're mourning the relationship you believed in, and you're mourning the future you thought you had with them. One day you might feel okay, like you're moving on and everything's all right. And then the next day you wake up feeling so down you can't even get out of bed. You might find yourself not wanting to be around anyone. And the smallest things might trigger waves of sadness. A memory, a place, a song, even a random smell that might remind you of them. And you might feel numb, detached, and like nothing matters anymore. This stage can feel endless and like it's something you can never push past. But I promise you, just like anger didn't last forever, this won't either. The key is to allow yourself to feel it instead of resisting it. Here is something we don't talk about very often. Grief is not a weakness. Letting yourself feel the pain, the sadness, and the brokenness is not a bad thing. It means that you're human. So many of us try to rush this part and we tell ourselves, I should be over this by now. But healing doesn't work on a schedule. You don't have to be strong every day. Strength is allowing yourself to feel without judgment. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to not want to do anything. Grief is a way of processing our pain. If you try to suppress it, it will find other ways out, whether that's through anxiety, exhaustion, or unexpected outbursts. But if you allow yourself to feel it and not run from it, that is where the true healing begins. Let's talk about how you can be gentle with yourself during this stage. 1, you've got to talk to yourself like you would a friend. Stop holding yourself to such a high bar and give yourself a little bit of grace. Next, you need to let yourself rest without any guilt. Just take some time for yourself. You deserve it. Next, you have to start finding some small comforts. Whether that might be, like for me personally, that looks like having a cup of tea once or twice a day and just taking 5 minutes to myself and breathing, or taking a shower when my daughter is down and just having that time to let the water hit my head and just relax and not think about anything for a moment. And lastly, you just have to express your emotions in a safe way. Healing is not about pretending you're fine. It is about learning how to sit with your emotions without letting them define you. And please remember that if you're having a really hard time, you can always reach out to a loved one or a therapist for complex situations. No matter what, I want you to remember that you're not alone. Here are some signs that you might be needing some extra support right now. If you feel hopeless and you feel like things are never gonna get any better, if you're struggling to get out of bed or take care of yourself, that could be a sign that you might want to reach out to a professional for, just a chat. Or if you're having thoughts of self-harm or harming someone around you. If you're experiencing any of these things, please reach out for help. You deserve support. You deserve healing. And there are people out there that want to help you. Now let's get into the best part of the process, accepting and renewal. There comes a part of the healing process when you stop looking backwards. The pain, the anger, the sadness, they're all still there, but they don't control you anymore. You start to realize that no amount of overthinking, analyzing, or wishing things would be different can change what happened. And that is where acceptance begins. Not as a moment of weakness, but as one of the greatest acts of strength. Because accepting the past doesn't mean approving what happened. It means that you refuse to let it define you any longer. This is the final stage of you stepping into your power and rebuilding your life on your terms and using everything you have learned to create a future that is stronger, wiser, and more truly aligned with who you are and your values. Because betrayal may have broken you for a while, it does not get to write your ending for you. You do. One of the hardest things is realizing that something will never make sense. Some questions will never be answered, and some wounds leave scars. But here's the thing. You don't need answers to move on. You can sit with the reality that what happened was unfair, undeserved, and painful, and still choose to move on anyway. You can acknowledge that the past shaped you, but it does not have to control you. You can stop wanting for an apology, for karma to really get them, or for closure from someone who may never give it to you. The moment you truly accept what happened, not just intellectually, but emotionally, that is the moment you free yourself. Because as long as you keep looking back, you'll never be able to fully step into what's ahead. And trust me, what's ahead is worth walking towards. Betrayal teaches you things you never wanted to learn, but within that pain, there is wisdom. If you allow yourself to fully process your experiences, you can walk away stronger instead of scared. So what can you take with you from this experience? One would be understanding red flags without blaming yourself. Looking back, you might not have recognized what you overlooked. Maybe you saw the best in them. Maybe you believed that they wouldn't hurt you. That does not mean that you are stupid or naive. And trust is a good thing that deserves to be given to the right people. And now you know what a healthy relationship feels like. And more importantly, you know what you will never tolerate again. 2. Setting boundaries without guilt. One of the biggest lessons that betrayal can teach us is the power of our boundaries. Boundaries are not pushing people away. Boundaries are protecting your own happiness and peace. Maybe that means no longer tolerating dishonesty, manipulation, or half-hearted apologies. Maybe it means prioritizing self-respect over the fear of losing someone. And maybe it means knowing when to walk away, even when it's hard. Boundaries are your way of saying, I am worthy now, and I will not let someone else's actions make me question that again. And number 3, you have to trust yourself again. After betrayal, learning to trust others can feel impossible. But the real issue is learning how to trust yourself again. You might fear making the wrong choices, opening up to the wrong people, or being hurt again. But here's the difference this time. Now, you've grown, you've learned, and you're not the same person who was blindsided before. You can trust yourself to see the truth, listen to your gut, and recognize when something isn't right. The person you are now is wiser, stronger, and more capable of protecting your heart than ever before. And that is power. I want you to take a moment and look back at not only the pain, but at you. At how much you have survived. At how much you kept going when you thought you couldn't. At how even in your darkest moments, you still chose to show up for yourself. Betrayal tested you. It did not break you. The person you are today is stronger than the one who was hurt, wiser and more resilient. You know that even when life throws you into the fire, you can walk through it and come out refined, not ruined. If you're still with me at this section of the video, thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate you guys so much. I'm so grateful for the community that we're growing here, and I want you to know that you are not alone. So lastly, let's talk about some ways that you can step into this new chapter of your life with confidence. 1, you should redefine what trust means to you. Trust does not mean ignoring red flags or giving people unlimited chances. It means choosing who and what is worthy of your trust. And most importantly, it means trusting yourself above all else. Forgive, not for them, but for you. Forgiveness is not about letting them off the hook, and I have an entire video of how forgiveness can help you heal and build a life you love. It's about setting yourself free. It means no longer carrying the weight of resentment because you deserve peace, and it's choosing to move forward without baggage or bitterness. If you want to know more about how you can heal from forgiveness, I'll link the video right here. And lastly, you have to create a future that excites you. Your past does not define you. You define you. Use everything you have learned to build a life that brings you joy, purpose and peace. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and respect you. Pour into yourself the way you once poured in to the wrong people. Betrayal may have changed you, but you get to decide how it changes you. Will it make you bitter or better? Will it close your heart, or will it open it up to a new level of strength and self-love? The choice is yours. If you've made it to this point in the video, I want you to take a deep breath, because this is the moment you step into something new. Thank you for being here, and thank you for showing up for yourself today and for allowing yourself to heal. If this episode resonated with you, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And if you want to know more about the impact and how you can use forgiveness for the power of self-love, I'd check out this video right here. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.